Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And don't forget to go ahead and go on over to YouTube, hit subscribe and like, leave a comment. And I've got a question real quick though. What happens when every foundation you've built your life upon, such as your health, your relationships, and even your faith, is stripped away? What do you do with that? So I've got someone who's going to answer that question for us because she's lived that kind of life. So Gina, Economopoulos. Did I say that right?
You, perfect. It was great.
Okay. Well, Gina, you've had quite a story, and I just read it a little bit, and I'm so excited to hear it from you and just everything that is going on with it. So, why don't you tell us a little
Yes,
bit about who you are, where you're from, and what your book is about? Because you've got a book out, right?
that's correct. I'm a first time author. It was just published last August, but I still feel like it's a first time. It's all new to me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's my memoir. So it's a true story. It's not fake
Hmm.
news. No fake news here. It's all true, I say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right now I live on the Jersey Shore,
Okay.
and this is where I experienced my freedom. I found freedom here within,
Mm. Okay.
but I never had that freedom throughout my life.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all have our story to tell. We could all write a book, and
Mm.
to be honest, I never thought I would write my story, but it just felt like I was inspired by God to say, "Hey, you have a story, a message of hope and strength. Put it out there. Put it out
Mm.
there." Um, but like I said, like 30 years ago, I wouldn't, never dreamed that I would be here talking to you, Keegan, about my life. Never dreamed.
Is
Um, and and even backing up, I'm
mhm.
from New York. I'm from one of
Okay.
8 kids, so
Okay.
very loving Italian Greek family.
Gotcha.
Great upbringing.
Mhm.
I was born with a lot of health problems, so
Mm.
I struggled with many surgeries, and I
Mm.
and I formed this black cloud around me to say,
Uh-huh.
why me, and I also felt if just say the building blew up, it would be me that would go to the
Mm.
hospital. That's how I felt. I was so used to doctors, used to hospital, used to being in accidents, and used to be the one to get
Mhm.
hurt,
Mm.
and everybody else walk away. And so with that kind of mindset as a kid, it kind of formed my identity.
Oh
Poor
yeah, for
me,
sure.
and but back then you never thought of it, right? I mean, I
Mm.
my family loved me. My dad put us all through college. He was a hardworking person. My
Mhm.
oldest siblings were very athletic,
Yeah.
and here I couldn't play sports, so I compared
Mm.
but but yet, in hindsight, I'm kind of grateful. I'm kind
Mhm.
of grateful for my parents, to be honest. I really am for that love because that unconditional love.
Yeah.
And I went
Yeah.
off to college, and here in the 80s, I went to college, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where I'm going to find my man, get married, right? Doesn't every
Yeah.
college kid do that?
Yeah, right?
And but that didn't happen to Gina. I
Mm.
I party a lot. I drank a lot, and I didn't find that boyfriend, that
Mm.
husband to be,
Yeah, yeah.
because by this time I wanted to be married and have kids, but I didn't find that Prince Charming,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
my siblings did.
Oh,
So,
well.
but yet, I didn't at the time.
Mhm.
And then I went to live with my parents. They moved to
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania. They semi-retired. They still had a kid in school because I have a
Okay.
younger brother. My
Okay.
mother had him when she was 48 years old. My dad was like
Whoa.
47. So,
Huh.
so when it came for their retirement age, they still had a kid in junior high.
Mhm.
So they ended up in Pennsylvania, and I went out there after I graduated. Uh, my Italian mom just would say, "Oh, we built a room for you, Gina. Come, come." And I'm like, "Okay." And and then I did get a degree in social work.
Mhm.
I was a very good pool player. I was a pool shark in college, and with those two degrees, I got a bartending job.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
right? Isn't
Yeah.
that great?
Yeah. Perfect.
Uh, but in hindsight, I'm looking for the meaning of life or the purpose of life or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah.
Um, but but when I was bartending, I was in a familiar environment, with the
Mm-hmm.
drinking and the getting the drunk, the craziness and everything like that.
Yep.
I did that for a few years, and then I said,
Mm.
"Okay, I'll be a professional bartender." Back then, you didn't have to go to school. For me,
Yeah.
I mean, you just talk to the customers, you take their money,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yep.
Drinks come later.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, yeah, back then they didn't have mixology degrees,
Mm-hmm.
so I enjoyed that. But during that time, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. She was
Mm.
given 4 to 6 months to live,
Oof.
and um, and my younger brother
Mm.
just graduated from high school. He went off to college. All my other siblings were married or working somewhere. They weren't living at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my dad and I. And when we got that diagnosis,
Mm.
I took care of. I ended up taking care of her.
Yeah.
Of course, it's like, why me? Look at Gina is taking care of mom.
Yeah.
But it was a great joy. It was a great gift, even though I did not really see it at the time. But I would have done anything for my parents, for my mom.
Uh-huh.
But she died in 5 months,
Oof.
and
My
yeah, and so
condolences.
that was my first, you would say, trauma, tragic happening in my life of
Mm-hmm.
losing your mom at the age of 23, watching her literally
Mm.
die, trying to do everything you can to keep her alive. But she had bone cancer, and back then, in
Mm.
the early 90s, there was not. I mean, they don't. Who knows what they have today?
Yeah.
But back then it was, treat whatever it was. But my mother died. You would say with grace.
Mm-hmm.
They were very devout Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
She brings out the rosary and all this, and I could remember as I'm taking care of my mom, she was concerned about the spider web in the corner of the bedroom. I'm like, oh, who cares about that spider web, mom? We're taking care of you. Like
Uh-huh.
that's how. Oh, Gina, don't forget to write a thank you note to this one. Who cares? We're taking care of you.
Yeah.
But um, but when she died, I literally died. Granted, I was
Mm.
raised Catholic. I just didn't have that faith. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that hope. I didn't have a relationship with God or with the
Mm-hmm.
church. I knew who God was. It wasn't like I didn't believe in him. I just didn't have that relationship. And I was very upset, of course, losing my mom at that young age.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this time, now I'm really searching for the meaning of life. What's the purpose? What is death? What is heaven? What is life?
Mm-hmm.
What is? What is it? I don't have anything. I'm just a bartender. My mom's dead. And my dad took it very hard, and he's grieving, and I'm lost, and
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't really live. But then I came back to my Catholic roots. I came back into the church. I had what would one would say like a St. Paul conversion, like aha, you fall off the horse. They say you
Mm-hmm.
fall and you see the light. Like, yeah, I see a light.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became a Jesus lover. I became a crusader. So I decided to go join the convent. I was
Oh
a
boy.
Catholic nun for 12 years in
Oh
the South
man.
Bronx.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Bartending the nun, or I should say bartending pool shark nun.
So, was getting closer to your higher power how you beat your grief, your alcohol problems, and all that? What else happened in your memoir?
Well, in my memoir, I got kicked out of the convent, so that's all in my
Ooh.
memoir. I was emotionally abused. I was
Mm.
mistreated. So it was like another trauma in a way. And then after 12 years, when they said to me I didn't belong there anymore, I'm like,
Mm.
now I'm in my 40s. I'm really totally lost. I lived a
Huh.
very austere life. So
Mm-hmm.
coming into the world in the late 2000s, it's like, how do you do this? How do you do that?
Yeah.
But yet, I went to go live with men with disabilities. Now at this point, I came back and I started drinking again in a way
Mm-hmm.
where I can drink. As a nun,
Uh,
I was drinking, but I was hiding. But I
mm,
can, I can drink. And mind you, Keegan, I'm Gina
mm-hmm.
Economopoulos. Who would think? You know what I mean? I'm a cute little girl or cute nun or whatever you want to call it. Nothing. But I was broken on the inside, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew. And I
Yeah.
didn't share the pain that I was enduring from the hands of the community.
Yeah.
I wasn't sharing that because I'm like trying to make peace, etc. People pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, fast forward, I after I lived with the men with disabilities, it was a transition time, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
I came back to the Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not came back. This is when I learned the Jersey Shore. I decided because I wanted to do what Gina wanted to do, and Gina
Mm.
loves the beach. Beach is where heaven and earth meet. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wanted. I'm tired. I'm tired of serving. I'm tired of figuring out what the world is, or what God is, or any, not what
Uh-huh.
God, like why things happen. I was
Mm-hmm.
still angry about what happened with me as a sister, but I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to bartending. That's the only thing I knew how to do was bartending,
Mm-hmm.
a nun and a bartending. So
Yeah.
now I'm back into bartending.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, a familiar environment.
Mm.
This guy named Danny walks into the bar,
Okay.
and we started dating. I said, "Oh, okay." I really never dated a guy in so many years because I was a nun,
Yeah.
and he did not know that I was a sister, and he was a
Mm.
former cop and everything. And so we
Yeah.
started, we liked each other. We had, common things, and I was like, oh wow, this is a great guy. This is a nice guy. Finally, I could
Uh-huh.
find a guy.
Yeah.
But yet it comes. But he was an alcoholic. And
Oh.
to be honest with you, Keegan, that was my first encounter of an alcoholic, or thinking what an alcoholic was.
Mm.
I
Gotcha.
was in such denial in my whole life, and
Mm-hmm.
I was a runner.
Mm.
But anyhow, to me, I like probably many other people in the world, an
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic to me was someone with a paper bag under the bridge.
No.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
stigma.
Yeah.
And so, and so here's a retired cop. He's an alcoholic. I'm like, why? And he's drinking. How can this be?
Mm-hmm.
And and he, we there was love behind it all, beyond it all, and he
Mm-hmm.
tried so much to stop, and he
Mm.
did. He did find sobriety, which he was a
Yay.
great man.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply sick, finding
Yeah.
sobriety, going to AA. He went to a rehab out in Arizona. So we're in Jersey, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll move out there with you, Danny. I'll go wherever, to support you. I
Mm-hmm.
was involved in Al-Anon, which is a 12-step program
Mm-hmm.
for for family and friends of
Yep.
AA people. So
Mm-hmm.
here I go to you know I I'm in Al-Anon. He's in Arizona, and I said yes, I'll go out there. And then
Mm-hmm.
he comes back and to get his truck. He goes back to cross country because we were going to end up in Arizona. But
Uh-huh.
his story was that he was sober, but he had a tragic accident with his mom in the car. His mom died. He burned up, and it was just like, why me
Mm.
getting that phone call, that
Mm.
360-degree turn to say, mom died and Danny's burned up in Indianapolis halfway.
Mm.
And so I did. I went out to Indianapolis to be with him and to
Mm-hmm.
find out, and thank God he did survive. We
Oh, yay.
connected with the friends of AA there, as well as
Mm-hmm.
Al-Anon. So we're like, okay, this is it. But and I'm still kind of new about alcoholism and alcoholics. It's all about him. I'm enabling and everything like this. It's
Uh-huh.
nothing about me, but it's all about him. And
Mm-hmm.
then he happened. I mean, what does an alcoholic do when you see your mother burn up in a car? you
Oh,
know,
just
you,
drink.
yeah, he relapsed. He drank, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why did you drink? Because I had no idea about the disease itself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still in the dark with my own self, and
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
and this was about 13 years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, I kind of went off the railing, not in the drinking, but with my mind, like the manipulation, the yelling, like, "Ah, I can't believe it, you were
Mm-hmm.
saved from this accident." Like I couldn't understand why he picked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He picks up. and then we're still gonna get married, even though, I mean, that's how kind of sick I was, we're still,
Mm.
and it was insanity. We were
Mhm.
still gonna get married like in April, but then but anyhow, I had kicked him out. But then a month before our wedding day, I found him dead from the disease. So
Oh.
yeah,
Mm.
so all this is in my story, all this is in my memoir, and that was the point with Danny's death that I was shot. I was in such a dark place. At this point, I was like, I gave up life. I gave up pushing forward. I gave everything up. I just didn't. I gave up on God. I gave up. All I did was I wanted to die. So I come back to
Mhm.
Jersey, simply existing a zombie. And somebody had mentioned to me, and all I did was cry, cry, cry. I
Mhm.
was like in such a state of mind thinking that Danny was alive. I mean, I wanted him
Mm.
to be alive. I had a shrine, and I mean, it was so hard. And I had my wedding dress that I never wore. I mean, it was my
Mm.
dream.
Yeah, yeah.
But then somebody invited me to go to an AA meeting. So here
Mm.
I'm like, why do I want to go to an AA meeting? I'm not an alcoholic. And
Uh-huh.
I did go because I wanted to find out why Danny died and these people were sober. Like, what is this program? Why didn't it work for Danny? Like this
Mhm.
and that. And as I was there, because they do have tradition three, which means stating desire not to pick up. So I did never qualify myself. But
Mm.
for 10 months, I'm a slow learner, Keegan, very slow. That I was there to say, desire not to pick up, the desire not to pick up. I was so angry. I hated them all. I was like, I couldn't
Mm.
understand why seeing some of these sober people that may have years of sobriety and they were still jerks. I'm like,
Oh
Danny,
yeah.
like I couldn't understand that at all.
Yeah.
And but during that time, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. I came,
Mhm.
my eyes opened up, or I should say, in one of the meetings, I raised my hand. I said, "Hi, my name is Gina. I am an alcoholic,"
Ah.
and that was like on April 2nd, 2015. And here, Keegan, I'm thinking, "Oh my God, another thing to add to myself." I said, "What is this? What is this?"
Mhm.
And then comes to find out, one day at a time, that yes. Then I look in hindsight. Now
Mhm.
my eyes kind of open. I kind of stop running. I'm like, aha, how alcohol
Mhm.
was my best friend, or how I ran to alcohol, was in pain, or I became, how insanity it was,
Mhm.
trying, drinking all day, whatever.
Yeah.
And even in the convent, like it really was, the disease is so cunning, baffling, insidious that it was in the convent. I mean, I was the
Mhm.
sister that was in charge of the alcohol. How go be it? I mean, but but yet I'm in a habit and I'm smiling. I can't be, and I do have to say, in hindsight, my superior did said to me that I drank too much. Didn't say I was an alcoholic, but I drank too much. Like, no, I don't drink too much.
Nah.
I'm just having, and because also in
Mhm.
the convent I was in a lot of pain. So
Yeah.
in hindsight, I was drinking to avoid that pain.
Mhm.
It was sort of like a soul searching. It was sort of like something,
Yeah.
and so I'm in the rooms today. I got 10 years, over 10 years of sobriety. I got my sanity back in a
Yeah.
way,
Uh-huh.
because it is kind of insane,
Mhm.
when you're an alcoholic, and whether you're drinking or you're not working a program, like working a program of AA or 12 steps or something,
Mhm.
something to participate in life, something to live life on life's terms without picking up and without going crazy, without going crazy. And so I have learned a lot about myself. I've reconciled with myself with a lot, of course, with God,
Mhm.
and even with my past,
Yeah.
even with all the sanity. I was like, yeah, oh my. And then I said, I got through that, like I got through
Mhm.
that, like that pain and that rejection and those feelings of betrayal and darkness. Yeah,
Mhm.
I did. I did. There's no, easy way to say it. There's no like, okay, if you do A, B, C, D. I don't know how I did it, to be honest. I just kept pushing forward, crying, pushing forward, yelling, screaming,
Mhm.
searching, looking,
Yeah.
and then here, finally, And it's funny because when I went into the rooms of AA, it's a spiritual program. It's about a higher power, like you
Uh
had
huh.
mentioned before.
Yep.
People call it God. I
Mm-hmm.
did not want to hear about higher power. I didn't want to hear about God when I first
Mm-hmm.
went in there.
Yeah.
Nobody knew I was a nun. Nobody knew I was a nun. And people would come up to me and they were being trying to be kind. They said, "Oh, don't you know you have a higher power? Don't you know you have a God that loves you?" And I'm like, "No crap, God loves me. I married him and I'm divorced to him. He's not with, you know what I mean? Like I was aware of him. I
Mm-hmm.
was aware, but AA did bring me back into that. I had to learn I do have a higher power. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, I'll call you God again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then I come to realize it was the same God or the same higher power throughout my life,
Mm.
throughout, like he never changed, and he kept carrying me through. There's like that footprints, you know, prayer poem, you know, that he did. He
Mm-hmm.
carried me through, and there was a lot of dark times, and now today I'm in bright times in the light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my memoir, Shake the Dust Off Your Feet and Walk. That's what I shared. So it's really a simple reading. It's just tells about more in depth what
Mm-hmm.
really my feelings, my thoughts, and we all go through that. But I opened my heart and was very vulnerable in writing this all out, saying, yes, I was emotionally abused. Yes, this and that. Yes, 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 this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just my experience in the
Yeah.
convent, my experience through life, my experience with an alcoholic, and now my experience as a recovering alcoholic, a woman
Uh-huh.
of faith. So,
Yeah. That's
but
awesome. Oh,
thank you.
th- you got a storm out there?
Yes, it just happened just now.
Oh wow. That's a loud thunder. Um
That is a loud thunder. It's very dark, but I'm bright.
there you go. That is one heck of a story, and might I say that it's something that I can really resonate with, because if you weren't aware, I've got my own alcohol addiction story myself, and so it's honestly kind of just perfect that you were the nun that had a problem with alcohol, and yet you're sitting there in charge of the alcohol. That was top notch. Like, of course, you found your way to do that, and it probably happened by happenstance too, huh?
Yeah.
You
Oh
didn't
yeah.
really just sit there and go like, "Ooh, I'll do that."
I'll do- real quick story.
Uh huh.
Was
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of that as a nun.
Uh huh.
There was a gentleman named Eamon. He has passed away, and
Mm.
I had helped his father out, and so I prayed by his father's bedside. But anyhow, he just loved us. But he
Mhm.
loved, he loved our community, loved me, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, sister, thank you, sister," with his Irish accent, which I can't do. But anyhow, so he's like, anything you want." I'm like, "Oh, no, no, we're fine, we're fine." Well, we could not ask. I could not say, "Hey, Amy, can you bring me a case of beer?" I could not do that. So he would call and he'd be like, "Oh, no, I should say before that, the way we did a code is that he called me once and he says to me, he goes, Gina, he said, or his sister, he goes, I got a case of apple juice for you, an apple juice. And I'm like, case of apple juice? I said, what would I want to do with apple juice? And we're not supposed to give up. We're not supposed to,
Mm.
we're supposed to take whatever is given to us
Uh
because
huh.
we lived on divine providence.
Uh
I said,
huh.
okay, I'll take the case of apple juice. I'll give it to the sisters. Well, it was a case of Guinness that he gave me because he knew. So then that would be my code from that forward on until he passed away. I'd be like, hey,
Oh.
Eamon, we need a case of dark apple juice and a case of light apple juice. So like it would come. So when you that just brought my memory of Eamon and how I was as the sister in charge of the alcohol. I had all these codes.
Oh man. Uh, was that one of the things that kind of like messed with you while you were in the convent? Did you like have like a struggle with that? Did you think that you shouldn't be drinking that much or anything, or was it just totally normal at that point?
For me, it was like a totally normal. For me, I felt like, oh, I need. What was of course at the moment, but in hindsight, all my mind was about alcohol. My
Mm-hmm.
thought was like, my thought was like, oh, I can't wait for Sunday or Saturday or it's this day to have alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yep.
To me, it was like my safe place. To me, it was sort of like because I was in so much pain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that when I couldn't wait to get that alcohol sip within,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, but I didn't think it was. I didn't think I was I thought it was just everybody thinks that.
I mean, that's kind of how my first communion went. You know, whenever I first had my first communion, it was like, oh, hey, that makes my tummy feel a little good. I like that. And then that just kind of sparked it up for me too. I think. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I just was like, and then when the sister did say to me I was drinking too much, and she
Mm-hmm.
says you can only have one beer at a gathering, I would have that one beer in front of her, but I would sneak the other beers, or if there was the lay people at this gathering, I'd say, oh, let's switch my Coke to your drink, let me just drink. And it was just something that I don't know. It was just something that I needed for myself,
Mm-hmm.
or it was an escape. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, I married God and been in the convent, but I still wanted to escape because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who I was on the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have really used this program 30 years ago, being in the convent, like the
Mm-hmm.
program of AA that has saved me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I did have the program back then, I wouldn't put up with that crap that I put up, because I was a people pleaser, so
Mm-hmm.
I was just broken. I was just broken going on, lost my mom, grieving,
Mm-hmm.
looking, jumping, and everything like this. And, when somebody, and everybody, like I said, everybody loved me. They couldn't say no to me, I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
was Sister Regina,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it was sort of like my persona. It was sort of like
Mm-hmm.
not only I wore a habit to cover up, but it was another cover up
Yeah.
within my true identity.
Yeah.
And then you probably have experience, when you realize you're an alcoholic, you in hindsight like, aha, that's the reason. That was the problem. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That was it. And then of course I had to take a look of it, make amends, see where I was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and but that opened up the door for me to
Mm-hmm.
know who I really am.
Yeah.
And then, and as we know, we're great people, alcoholics. I mean, there's nothing wrong with us.
No.
We're just, and that's not who we are. We're just men and women of faith, of recovery, or however, someone living and participating in life
Mm-hmm.
is building up life. With you, as you're doing your podcast, how many people are you touching? You know what I'm saying? It's like it
Mm-hmm.
just it's like a dominoes effect when we put down that drink. When we put down that drink, we could do everything.
Yep. That is for sure. Real quick, what is your favorite step?
My favorite step, oh, I like step 3
Ooh,
and
step three is a
one
good
and
one.
3, 1, 2, and 3.
You like the
But
first three? The Trinity of
yeah,
steps?
yeah, the Trinity. I can, he can, let him.
Uh-huh. There you go. Uh, that's always, I mean, those are the steps that a lot of people struggle with a lot of the time, right? Because one is accepting that there's a problem within. Two is saying, hey, like, there's someone else that could do it probably. And then the third one is going like, yeah, why not let them take the steering wheel for a little bit, you know? And
Yeah.
those three are really hard for people to do. But for you, it was a little easier because you already had your foot in the door in that regards. Uh,
Yes. Go ahead. I'm
uh,
sorry.
I thought you just had something you wanted to say on that. Um,
No. Well, yes and no. I thought
okay.
I knew it all, but then
Uh
I
huh.
had to be broken down. Because,
Mm,
like I said, when I went in the rooms, I hated God. I wish I was an
yeah.
atheist when I went in the rooms.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't, I was like, I'd rather be an atheist, and
Mm.
I had such difficulty with a God. And
Mm.
so I had to go back to the basics for me as a higher
Mm.
power.
There you go.
I I had to go, and I remember being in the rooms. Eventually, maybe within the year, people found out I was a former nun.
Uh huh.
But even when I had said that, and when
Mm.
I would share honestly, because that's what the program is.
Mm.
There were many times I says I hated God, and
Yeah.
they're like, a former nun hates God. Yeah, I
Because they're
did. I
human.
mean, like I know, I mean, like I always said that he was on the couch, or he was, he wasn't. I
Mm.
was very upset with him,
Yeah.
and but
Mm.
then yet, so I had to really, because when everyone talked about God, yes, you're right. I saw what God did. I saw what
Mm.
God did, in the Bronx to people, and but I was like, I blamed God for everything in my life.
Yeah.
So how could I trust him or come back to him? So I really had to deprogram myself.
Mm.
It wasn't very easy in the
Yeah.
beginning because I had to say, okay, you know, that the higher power. I had to learn he was a higher power. And it's like what step two came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. I had
Uh-huh.
to say, came to believe that it's not Gina, that it's not Gina. I had to keep putting my name in to
Mhm.
restore. It's not me. I don't have that power. You know, I had to come to believe that no, and it's not. It's not Gina. You know,
Mhm.
and so it was quite difficult to be honest until
Yeah.
I took a deep breath and then. And I tell you, the reason why I like step one, two, three, because I was on those steps for a while before I indulged into four.
I mean, that's
I was a slow sobriety, slow learner.
I mean, that's totally fair. I don't think that there really should be a time limit on the steps
No.
unless you really want to put that on yourself, but that's just extra stress that you don't need if you're trying to get into recovery or get sober.
Yeah.
But you do bring up a really good point that a lot of people have struggles with the faith issue whenever it comes to getting into the rooms for the first time or recovery in general. And that's one of the things. How did you necessarily deprogram yourself to where you could reprogram yourself?
Well, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, to be honest.
Mm.
It was, I come to learn, I had to separate spirituality and religion.
Mm.
Spirituality and religion.
Okay.
And when I kind of separated that,
Mhm.
then I was able to be open, to be honest, open and willing, to be honest, open and willing. Okay, God,
Mhm.
you know what? I'm so mad at you. I don't understand why you know what I mean? Like being really
Yeah, yeah.
honest of what happened with the sisters, what happened my whole life, what happened with Danny, and
Mhm.
everything. Okay, now I'm open just a little bit,
Yeah.
just a little bit. I was very cautious. I was very cautious because I know, I experienced such great hurt, and I was afraid to be hurt again.
Mhm.
So what helped me was that I went to many meetings. I was
Mm.
very got involved and did service work and went to more meetings and went to more meetings and listened and got a
Yeah.
sponsor. Did what the program did. Went to more meetings. Like more, whatever it may be. And I had no problem in the meetings to really share my feelings. I'm
Uh-huh.
angry, whatever it was. Like, because as sometimes people do
Mhm.
hold back. They don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
say, or, and it's like, and when I do lead a meeting, because I like to, as service work, my first
Mhm.
question to the people, to the group is like, does anybody feel like drinking? But nobody
Yeah.
picks sides. I feel, I mean, it's okay to say, hey, I feel like drinking. It doesn't mean anything wrong.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean, you're in here, you're in a safe place. So
Mhm.
when that question, because I learned that in the beginning when some of the leaders was, does anybody feel like drinking? Yes, I do.
Mhm.
Yes, I do. And
Yeah.
what I learned is that it doesn't mean anything bad. Oh my God, she's gonna drink. It means that I
Yeah.
was being honest.
Mhm.
And sometimes people have that difficulty that
Mhm.
they're ashamed or maybe they went, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
And I try when I'm in the rooms to reach out or if I'm a leader is to make them feel welcome and safe and say, no, it's okay. I've been there. I've done that. I've
Mhm.
done that. And then
Yeah.
it was really one day at a time, Keegan, that
Mhm.
brought me into a spiritual awakening, like in my recovery. It's like,
Yeah.
aha, okay, God, you could come back.
Mm.
I'll invite you back, and then I did the rest of the steps or whatever, and there was other, resources reached out to help me, just to help me,
Mhm.
and then, it was just one, it really was one day at a time and of learning, and it's amazing. It's been 10 years now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my God, this is the last thing I ever thought.
Yeah.
I even, I never thought I was an alcoholic. I never thought I
Mhm.
was this,
Yeah.
and and another thing, like my story is different than anyone else's story. So when I went into when I was hearing other people's story, oh, I'm not like that. I
Mhm.
didn't go to jail. I didn't drink the night before.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a bad bottom. So
Yeah.
I really had to question myself. Am I really an alcoholic? When those words came out of me, who said
Mm-hmm.
that? It wasn't me. And it was like, and I do have to say, when I did say that day I was an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
all the pain I was carrying and all the insecurities and fear, it just opened up from head to toe. I can't explain it, but I
Mm.
was in so much more pain. When
Mm.
you realize and when you come, did I accept I was an alcoholic at the time? No, but I heard
Mm-hmm.
that step one, it has to be a perfect step. So went to
Mm-hmm.
meetings, just did everything I did because I didn't want to go back to misery.
Mm-hmm.
And and the last thing I will share is one thing that really caught my eyes when I did go into these meetings for
Uh-huh.
the first 10 months of saying, desire not to pick up, I'm not an alcoholic. What kept me going were the people in the rooms that were
Mm-hmm.
sober, that there was a freedom in their
Mm.
voices.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a if you there was a freedom, and the little person, the girl inside me, there was I was like, wanted that. I was so
Mm.
imprisoned in my own self. It's like, oh my God, you could live life on life's terms without drinking, without pity party, without negative. But there was and that's what caught my eye. And maybe in hindsight, just talking to you now about it, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably God's grace to say, because there was something inside me that was stuck and I was
Yeah.
in prison. And when I
Mm-hmm.
heard other people's stories and where they were at, but it was that freedom. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. And
Mm-hmm.
and through God's grace, and I still want that. I still need more freedom. But I'm free where I am today, where I'm not in the prison of my own self. But it's a journey of healing, journey of freedom, journey of faith. It's always a journey.
Yeah. A journey is something that comes with many twists and turns that we never really see coming in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and any which direction. So it sounds like you took every rather what's the word fork in the road. It sounds like you took every fork in the road to the best of your ability, and you wound up where you are. And so there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Um, so I think that it's great that you made this memoir to help shed light on addiction and all of that because your story is unique, but at the same time, the pain is similar to what other people feel a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
and it's true. It is so true.
So, what would you say to someone that was wondering if they had a problem with alcohol?
Well, I would just encourage them, if they do, is to go a meeting or some resource, talk to someone about it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows an alcoholic in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
We all know someone. To- and some are drinking, some are not, and then you'd be like, oh, I don't want to be that bad or something
Yeah.
like that. But I'd rather be like this. But if somebody is struggling, I always say, just don't give up, and you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
One may think that you feel alone. Those are
Mm-hmm.
your feelings, but you're truly not alone, because it's exactly what you said earlier, Keegan. Is that we all have different stories, but we
Mm-hmm.
have this one common denominator, which is of pain. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone, and especially the pain of alcoholism, it's the loneliness, it's the anger, the resentments,
Mm-hmm.
it's loneliness. It's that really deep pain that we
Mm-hmm.
all come in from.
Yeah.
That insecurity. Not 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 fitting in. We
Mm-hmm.
don't fit in the world. It's like, what's going on, and we. As being an alcoholic or an addict, you do your drug of choice to wipe it away. So
Yeah.
those who are struggling, I would say, don't lose hope. Do not be discouraged, and
Mm-hmm.
you're really not alone. So when someone goes into these rooms, and also, I was told, you don't compare, you identify.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yep.
but like I said, everyone. And one last thing, I could share more, but one last thing, Keegan said,
Uh-huh.
God has a story for each one of us.
Mm.
Higher power has a story for each one of us, and
Mm-hmm.
every moment it unfolds. and
Yep.
unfolds. And if we keep reaching out to a power that's
Mm.
not Gina, that's not themselves,
Uh-huh.
I don't care. It doesn't have to be a God. It could be the tree. It could be someone that's not you. And you keep reaching out and you keep crying out or whatever it may be. If you're in a very dark place, light comes. Light
Mm.
comes. It does come. You know, if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. Trust me. Miracle. Miracle. Here's a miracle in the air.
Mm.
So
Yep. Uh, but you don't think that the miracle happened just because you went to the convent in the first place, right?
that I went into the convent in the first
Yeah.
place, that was my miracle. Are
Well,
you
no,
asking?
no. Uh, Never mind. The question's just kind of lost now at this point.
That's
Um.
fine.
uh,
I mean, in hindsight, I was looking I was soul searching for
mm-hmm.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
In hinds and there was something empty within me, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought the sisters can fill it up. I thought the community could fill it up. I thought that life could fill it up, and it
Mm-hmm.
just broke me down because I still was a broken person on the inside,
Mm.
if that makes sense. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it was like, as they say sometimes in the rooms, two sickies don't make a welly. You know,
Yeah.
so not only I was sick, the community in itself was a
Mm.
sick place to be.
Yeah.
So two sickies could not make a welly. I mean,
Yeah.
I do believe the disease when I was there was cunning, baffling cities, not only with me, but the community as the group as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as
Yeah.
I've learned and as I experience and know, it's a family disease. You
Mm-hmm.
may not be an alcoholic, but you may have the traits of an alcoholic,
Yeah.
like the behaviors,
Yep.
like that. And if we don't have a proper channel or a program or something to bring that peace, to make that amends, bring that connection,
Mm-hmm.
then it would be difficult for myself if I didn't do that. It would be difficult for me to live life, wherever
Yeah.
life was, in the
Mm.
convent or out of the convent.
Yeah.
But yet,
Uh.
and yeah,
Oh. Sorry.
no, no, no. You go
Oh.
ahead. I'm fine. I'm just
I was just going to ask, do you think that you actually labeled and figured out exactly what was wrong? Do you think that you're still healing that part of you? Or do you think that it's been healed?
yes. I think I've been I not totally healed, but majority being healed today.
Okay. Yeah.
Of that part of me within, because there's always has to I always believe I cannot be perfect in anything, because if I be perfect then I will fall short.
Mm.
And as being an alcoholic in recovery, it's not a prize winning race. You don't
Yeah.
graduate. So I
Yeah.
have to really be aware and be conscious not to take my sobriety for granted or my life for granted. And in
Mm.
that, in life, things do happen. We're human. We do fall short and we do get hurt. So
Mm-hmm.
there is still, the wound, whatever you want to call it, within myself. That I constantly, feed with love. If it comes up, and then it could be, then there's something else comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Something else comes up. But today, I know I'm standing firmly in my faith, in my sobriety as a
Mm-hmm.
woman today.
Yeah.
And I just have to be in today, and I have to be in gratitude,
Mm.
because without gratitude I could easily pick up a drink, like we could easily, I don't care how many years, days we have, 30
Mm-hmm.
years, we're always an arm length from a drink.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have to keep that in mind, of working my program, my relationship with God, with my higher power, to
Mm-hmm.
be on the spiritual beam, as we call it or hear it,
Mm-hmm.
and if I fall off the beam, aha, what do I need? Okay, I'm broken. Okay, something triggered me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something from the sisters, from the convent. But then I
Yeah.
remind myself, I'm not that person anymore. I've already be gone. Be
Yeah.
gone. I've been healed. Later, let's move forward. Let's move
Mm-hmm.
forward. Let's keep moving forward. But I think that's life, and I think that's our journey.
Mm-hmm.
with higher power, with God, whoever, that's my journey that
Mm-hmm.
keeps me on my toes to say, okay, yeah, I need you. Oh, yeah, I'm hurt or whatever it may be, or things happen and
Mm-hmm.
triggers. And because I also learned, Keegan, life goes on with me or without me.
Yep.
And things happen with me or
Mm-hmm.
without me. I can't stop it. And that's where thinking about step one being powerless. Like I have
Mm-hmm.
no control. I'm a real control freak,
Yeah.
and I have to learn. No, God, you're in control of people, places, and things, or with whatever. First I'm powerless over alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I keep that at bay. Yes, I am. and then life goes on. It's like, okay, I'm powerless over this situation, that situation,
Mm-hmm.
life. And then what do I do? Okay, God or higher power come into that situation, whatever it may be. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let it go. No, I
Yeah.
don't want to let it go. Yes, I gotta let it go. No, I don't want to let it go. Like a tug of war.
Yeah.
And then and ultimately, we have that serenity prayer to grant. There's so many tools I have learned through the program, and even as a nun, because the Christianity, the Bible, and things like that, that
Mm-hmm.
keeps me that keeps me going, that keeps
Yeah.
me at bay, and that keeps bringing light. I always say more God, less Gina. So if I keep doing that, then and then when I'm totally healed is when I see my maker. That's when I'll totally be healed at my last breath, God willing. So
Fair enough. That's a good example and a good way to look at everything because it does wrap everything up in a nice little bow, in a sense, you
thank
know.
you. Thank
um,
you.
of course. If you are still willing, I've got a little bit of a game show segment ready for you to go.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. So, Gina, your book, Shake the Dust Off Your Feet and Walk, is all about knowing when it's time to move on from something that's holding you back. So, in this game, we're going to throw a bunch of situations at you, rapid fire style. And for each one, we just need you to tell us if you'd shake the dust and walk or if you'd stay and work it out. And then give me a quick reason why. So, with that,
Ooh.
are you ready?
Okay. I'll do my
Alrighty.
best.
Number one, a friend who never celebrates your wins. Do you shake the dust and walk, or do you stay and work it out?
I would stay and work it out and help them
Fair
what they
enough.
need.
All right. Number two, a job that pays well but drains your soul.
Oh, I would shake it.
Shake it.
I don't. I don't. Money doesn't buy happiness.
Oh, there you go. All right. Number three, a faith community that no longer aligns with your values.
I would shake it, but I would shake it with grace, and move
Mm,
forward. I would not. I don't condemn. Don't judge. Just move forward and find a community of my same faith base. I don't. I'm not there to fight.
fair enough. All right. Number four, a relationship where apologies happen but behavior never changes.
Ooh, um, I would stay and work it out on the relationship. Yep. And
Okay.
because everyone is worth it to give a second chance, and it teaches me to learn to accept people for where they're at. It
Fair
depends
enough.
on the so
Yeah, every situation is different.
yes.
All right. Number five, a dream you've had since childhood that now feels impossible.
Then I've had that's yeah. I will shake that.
Shake it? All right.
I will shake it. It's not that it's impossible, but I'm living the dream now, so I don't even know what kind of dream I yeah. I'm living a dream right now, so I'm happy where I'm at.
Fair enough. I like that. And number six, a social media habit that leaves you feeling worse after scrolling.
I would just shake it.
Shake it.
Nothing should, yeah. I won't take, yeah. Don't take things personal. Just move on. It's social media, fake news.
The fake news. All right. Number seven, a volunteer role you love, but you're burnt out.
Wow. I would that would be both. I
Both.
would shake it, give it like some time take a pause, look at it, see what I need to do, take care of myself to go back and help and do
Oh,
that, to do that kind of service.
okay.
Because I have been in those kind of positions. But then I go back, just refresh, renewed.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I like that. And then number 8, a family tradition that feels more like obligation than joy.
Oh, I would never, I won't shake that because all my family traditions are full of joy and I
There you
enjoy
go.
them. And if anything, yeah, if I have to work it out, I would work it out, but it would be working out with joy.
There you go. All right, number 9, a project you've invested years in, but it's going nowhere.
I would start. I mean, it honestly, it's like with my book. I would say I would want to shake it off and say forget about it, but but I'm continue to trying to promote the message of hope and the hope and strength through media, through social media. So that's a both.
Alrighty. And then last up, we got number 10, an inner belief about yourself that you've carried since childhood.
In a belief of myself.
It
I
could,
carried since. Oh, I shook it off.
you shook
Shake
it
it
off?
off. Yeah. Yeah,
Alrighty.
the false self. I had to think about it. That question was, I had to, what does he try to say? Is it a trick question?
Nope. Just right up there.
No, no.
Um, alright, Gina. You've played our game of Shake the Dust lightning round, and you have earned the honorary title of the Hope Alchemist because you don't just find hope, you turn life's heaviest pains into something life giving for others and yourself to just be renewed. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's
Uh,
great. Thank you.
of course.
See, it's worth more than money.
Yeah, there you are. And real quick, where can people find your book at?
Yes, it's on Amazon. Shake the
Okay.
dust off your feet and walk. But you can look on my website,
Okay.
ginaecon.com, as well as Instagram and Facebook. But so
Gotcha.
you get more information through all that.
Alrighty. And do you have any shout outs to anyone that you'd like to show? Not show. What did I just showed? Is there any shout outs to anyone that you'd like to just get out there that normally they don't get recognition?
Well, no, to all your
To all.
listeners, and I always say that if nobody told you that they love you, I do.
Hmm.
So that's my shout out is love
That's a great
to
one.
all.
Um, Gina, do you think that uh, there is going to be a second part of your memoir out at one point?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I will see. I leave it in God's hands. Right now, I'm trying to learn how to be an author and learn media and all that, and so we'll
Well,
see.
it
Hope
sounds
so.
like you're on a great start to it. And I mean, after being in the
Thank you.
convent for 12 years, technology just explodes really fast. So if you're already back to doing podcast interviews, I think you're well on your way.
Thank you so much, Keegan.
Of
It's
course.
great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's just so much that we've got to talk about, and your life is full of twists and turns. And I'm excited to read your book. And so I'm excited for everyone else to hear this episode and to find your book as well. Uh, and I'm trying to think. Do I think we got everything covered at the moment. Is there
Thank you.
anything? Yeah. Oh, there is one more question I did forget. Oh, and I just closed that tab that has my question because it's a longer question. But Gina, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of living life impact our mental health. Looking at the incredible motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today, and what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone on that journey?
Oh, um, yes. Retrieving sanity is for me. Today's just waking up and being grateful to God, and that I to try to live in the present moment as a sober, faithful woman today. So,
Fair enough. Well, Gina, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on the show today, and I look forward to having you on in the future if you're willing to be on in the once your second book comes out.
yes, I am. Thanks,
All
Keegan. I
right,
appreciate you and all the listeners. God
of
bless. Yep.
course. And everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, you gotta love yourself if you can, but love others too. But after you love yourself first, and always stop on over by retrievingsanity.com for a list of all guests and their websites. And don't forget to check out Amazon or the there we go, GinaCon.com. So go on over,
Oh, that's
check out her
nice.
book, and we will be able to see y'all next week. So with that being said, much love. Schlan.